Hello, my beautiful friends. My name is Kim, and I hope you're having a fabulous day today. If you're interested in true crime stories like I am, I hope that you consider hitting that subscribe button. But either way, thanks for being here. Today, we're going to be talking about Harper and Abby. Harper was 6 months old, and Abby was 8 months old when they were with women trusted with their care. Their mothers both got texts saying that their babies were sick and they needed to come quickly. Today we're going to be talking about this sickening new trend of babysitters that drug tiny babies in their care so they don't have to deal with them. When I read these stories and learned about the pain of these families, and I honestly just wanted to spread awareness because I know that this isn't just a babysitter issue. And so let's talk about Harper and Abby. But first, a word from our sponsor. Jackpot World is the most fun free app to play Vegas slot machines. You can feel a real casino vibe with Jackpot World. Immerse yourself with exquisite slot games now. This easy to play and is for everyone who wants to enjoy without leaving the comforts of their Android or iOS devices. You get the thrill of slot machine playing anytime, anywhere. There are more than 12 ways to get free coins. New players can get 6 million free coins instantly. No reason not to download it just for that, but there's more. You can also use the gift code FLOWER for new players can get $100 worth of free coins. You also get free coins every 15 minutes within gameplay. That is just to name a few reasons why you should download Jackpot World today. More worth to download Jackpot World than just free coins are its high payout. You can easily win a lot of coins on each slot. Bet and spin, nothing to lose to download today. Winning the jackpot is easy and it could be yours. Jackpot World has more than 200 slot games with different themes. New slots will be released every week and you can unlock new games for free. In addition to the main game, there are many side games to keep the challenge and interest going, and not to mention the beautiful in-game design that presents a clean and clear screen. To celebrate their 5th anniversary, Jackpot World is hosting a special promotional event, Spin Las Vegas, giving you the chance to win a free trip to Las Vegas, 4 days and 3 nights with flights and hotel included, and $100 to freely spend every day. Hurry and click the link to download Jackpot World. The link is in the description box as well as I'll have a pinned comment. Thanks to Jackpot World for making today's video possible, and thanks to all of you for listening. On July 24, 2018, Marissa Breyer had completed her college courses early, so she headed to Stacy Valancourt's daycare in Rutland, Vermont, to pick up her baby girl Harper. This was only Harper's 3rd day at daycare ever, and she was just 6 months old. Marissa had interviewed many daycares when she was pregnant, and when she found Stacy's licensed daycare, she thoroughly checked her out. She did her homework. She was very thorough. She was a first-time mom and wasn't completely loving the idea of leaving Harper with anyone while she was at school. As she was driving to pick up Harper, she got a text from Stacy that said, "Baby sick. Go to the hospital. Ambulance here." What? I'm sure that she was freaking out. The babysitter didn't call her. She sent her a text, and the text is super vague. Was she in an accident? What happened? And who texted that? So Marissa turned toward the hospital as she called Stacy's phone. An EMT answered Stacy's phone and told her that Harper was found not breathing and was transported to the hospital. Harper has been transported to Rutland Regional Medical Center and was pronounced dead on arrival. How did this happen? Baby Harper was completely fine when she dropped her off in the morning. Not even a runny nose. Harper Rose Breyer was born in Vermont to her mom, Marissa Colburn, and her dad, Blake Breyer. Melissa and Blake had met when they were in college at the University of North Carolina, she at Wilmington and him at Pembroke. They moved to Vermont just before Harper's birth and their marriage. In North Carolina, daycares that are standalone buildings have many employees, and maybe a playground is more prevalent. But they found that in Vermont, that where they moved, most daycares, even the state certified ones, were run out of person's home. When they found Stacy, they felt that she was a great fit, a good person, and had a great place for Harper. And she also had a certificate from the state of Vermont Department of Children and Family Services for a family child care home. She had been running her business for 25 years and was still certified, so she felt safe leaving Harper with her. The day of Harper's death, the police were called to the hospital at 4:15 p.m. This was standard procedure in a case where there wasn't really an apparent cause of death. An investigation was started, but there wasn't much information that they could give the parents. There was no wounds or scrapes or breaks, or nothing was damaging to the outside. Stacy, the babysitter, told the police she had checked the children during their naps several times. When she went back to check on Harper, she found her face in the blanket, and the blanket had vomit on it. She also said she contacted her son, who lived in the house next door, to come over and do CPR while she called 911, which she should be certified and should know how to do it. But anyways, she called for her son to come over. But anyways, every second counts. We'll learn that this woman is much worse than not knowing CPR. Marissa said that it was only the third day that Harper had gone to this daycare. The days prior, when she picked her up, she seemed, a little sleepy afterwards, but she didn't seem sick. And, it's a new place for her, and, the new stimulation will wear you out. So she didn't really think much of it. Her parents were interviewed separately, and each said that Harper was happy, healthy baby, that she was always smiling. They both said that she had no illnesses, and she had gotten over bronchitis the month before, but was doing fine. Marissa said that Harper was a poor sleeper and only slept, quote, when being held, unquote. There was nothing the doctors could tell the Breyers. In an infant as young as Harper, SIDS, or sudden infant death syndrome, was a possibility until they got the test results back. It was the only answer they had. SIDS is the sudden and unexplained death of a baby younger than 1 year old. A diagnosis of SIDS is made if the baby's death remains unexplained even after the death scene investigation and an autopsy and a review of the clinical history. There are no symptoms or warning signs in SIDS. The best way to prevent SIDS is to place young babies on their back. Possible causes of SIDS are placing a baby on their stomach or side to sleep. Premature or low birth weight babies are a higher risk. Overheating the babies during sleep with clothing and blankets. Having the baby sleep on top of a soft surface with loose blankets, and having a sibling who died of SIDS or a family history of failure to thrive. However, sometimes a parent does everything right and it still happens. It's unexplained. There are theories about babies not being able to rouse themselves enough to detect low oxygen due to carbon dioxide buildup in the blood. Normally, the brainstem rouses the baby. They turn their head and breathe faster, getting more oxygen. Babies with SIDS may not be able to rouse themselves. But these are only theories because it is still an unexplained death. The Breyers clearly, without even having to say this, are devastated, as any parent would be. They were a very young couple. Marissa had Harper, when she was 21 years old, they planned on having many children, and I'm sure now they were concerned about SIDS, as anyone would be. A little over a month later, the autopsy for Harper was completed when the toxicology report came back. Her death was declared a homicide, and Stacy, the babysitter, was arrested for manslaughter and cruelty to a child. The Bryers were told that Harper was given a fatal dose of, I'm going to say this, but I'm probably going to say it wrong, so I'll put it on the screen, dimethylhydramine. That is the active ingredient in Benadryl. It's also in several different cold medicine, but it's not recommended for children under 6 years old. Harper was 6 months old. It is sometimes found in adult allergy medicine, but even if children have allergies, it is not the medicine given. Harper had no allergies. And let me be clear here, the Bryers did not give the medicine to Stacy to give to Harper. They didn't give her permission to give the baby any medication. However, in my research, I found a sick trend of nannies, sitters, whatever you want to call them, giving young children medication like this because of the side effect of drowsiness. They give it to them so they will sleep and they don't have to deal with them. This was only Harper's third day there. How much trouble could she have caused? There were close to 40 of Harper's family members in the courtroom the day that Stacy was arraigned. They wore pink t-shirts with Harper's face on the back and a rose on the front. Sadly, right after she pled not guilty, she was allowed to be out on $25,000 unsecured appearance bond and a stipulation that she had no contact with children under 5 other than her grandchildren as long as their parents were present. That was because she has no criminal history. That was in 2019, and although Stacy had many court dates where they were supposed to schedule time to pick up a jury and a trial, still nothing. There was, of course, a bit of COVID backlog, but there has been countless motions by the defense for delays. Those have all been granted. They were recently scheduled to start, and the defense asked for a delay because she was tending to another trial. But it's been over 4 years, and this family is still waiting. They're trying very hard to raise awareness about the dangers associated with giving a child over-the-counter medication. They have a slogan, "Babies don't come with instructions, medications do. Read the labels." They have regular gatherings in Harper's name, and they have shirts, hats, glasses with the slogan on them, all towards bringing awareness. Her grandfather said in an interview that he'd found 22 cases of this type of overdose since 2017. I would not argue with him because I found countless, and I mean countless cases, one after another. One is another case that we're going to talk about, and that was a little girl who has so much in common with Harper, and her name is Abigail. On February 24th, 2019, Anna Labish was working when she got a text from her daycare provider, Denise Villa. It said, "Come now." So Anna started to leave work and she texts back, "Everything okay?" Denise texts, "No, please come now." So Anna drove to Denise's house on the Alamanu Military Reservation in Honolulu, Hawaii. She had no idea what the problem was, but she said that she did not think something terrible had happened to her child because she would have gotten a phone call, right? Just like Harper, she got a text. But instead of her not thinking the worst, she drove straight into a nightmare. When she pulled up outside Denise's house on the base, she saw that the MPs, which are military police, and an ambulance. She jumped out of her car and tried to approach, but they stopped her. She said, quote, "My child is here." They asked her, "Which ones are your kids?" She said her 2.5-year-old and her 7-month-old were both inside. She said their faces went white. They said, quote, "I'm so sorry. The babysitter found your daughter not breathing. We tried to administer CPR, but she was far too gone," unquote. Those must be the worst words any mother would want to hear. Just like Harper, Abby was completely healthy when she dropped her off at daycare. What the heck is going on? She said she just collapsed. She ended up having to stay at the scene for close to 6 hours outside of where her baby died, not able to get any answers before they released her from the scene. But where do you go after that? And how did they get there? Abigail Elizabeth Labish was born on July 16, 2018 to her parents, Anna and James. They were living in Hawaii, and James was a member of the Army National Guard. Abby also had a 2.5-year-old older brother. James and Anna's relationship didn't last, but they both loved their children very much. Anna had full primary custody, but James was an active parent in their lives. When living on her own, Anna, like Marissa, had looked for someone to help out for her little ones. She said she had times in the past with her son where she would get a bad feeling about a daycare. She'd get him out of there right away. When she met Denise, she was so happy because she was not only reliable, but she seemed really good with both her son and Abby. After Abby's death, there was an investigation into what happened the day before. Anna had dropped off both her kids to Denise at a hotel that was a Disney resort, and Denise had taken her 2 kids as well as Anna's to the pool. Denise said at the end of the day, she took them back to the house that night. This was prearranged with Anna, and Denise was watching them while Anna worked. She said it would be fun if they could go to the pool with her kids. In the police statement, Denise said all 4 kids slept in the same bed, and Abby was, quote, sleeping face down on her chest, and the other 3 children were laying next to her, unquote. She said at 8:30 the next morning, she found Abby lying face down and that her skin looked splotchy. She was cold to the touch. Anna gave her interview and said that Abby was healthy and wildly happy, always a laughing baby. She was also an easy baby who ate and slept very well. The investigation also said it may have been SIDS. Not only that, but Denise was telling people that it was SIDS, not Anna. She didn't talk to Anna. That's something these moms had in common. The babysitters never called to apologize, to extend their sympathies, nothing. Cold-hearted. A little over a month later, Anna received a phone call from the medical examiner. The toxicology report was in, and the cause of death was homicide, just like Harper. She was told that Abby had a high dose of the same thing. What's the active ingredient in Benadryl? She had been given an overdose and had double the lethal amount to kill a child. Anna, like Harper's mom, was shattered. Dealing with the thought of SIDS was bad enough because their children were gone and it was unexplained. But to hear that someone that you trusted did this, it made them question their judgment. Anna said that for over a year later, when she had to trust someone else to care for her son, she didn't know how to. She wanted to just snatch him back and keep him safe with her. Dixie Denise Villa, who was the babysitter who went by Denise, also was arrested and charged with manslaughter. She originally had a $1 million bond, which got reduced to $500,000, and then the defense complained that there was no way that she could raise that kind of money. She was trying to get released on a personal reconnaissance. Denise did have a bit of a criminal history, though, so that's why her bond was higher. She was arrested numerous times on battery and domestic violence charges from 1996 1997 to 2006 while living in Hillsborough County, Florida, under the name Dixie Denise Smith. She was only convicted of domestic violence battery in 1998 and for battery in 1999. Then the prosecution raised the issue that some of Denise's jail phone calls made seemed like she was a flight risk. 2 of the calls were with her mom, who was a retired police officer from the States. In these calls, her mom tells her she's going to be talking in code and that she needs her to pay attention and figure it out. Then the mom of Denise insists that when Denise kept Abby, she was giving her breast milk provided by Anna, not formula that would be mixed. But Denise isn't very smart. She's not a smart cookie and didn't catch on. Her mom scolded her and told her to pay attention. Of course, that's what happened. It's pathetic that her mom would try. Well, I guess it's not pathetic that she would try, but we're talking about a 7-month-old baby, and there are consequences. And a parent who does that is like, blame the mom, the grieving mom. Wow. And you're a police officer? Denise is heard telling her mom to get her daughter to go back to the police and tell them that she'd lied. It's possible that Denise's adult daughter was there the night before or the morning of. We don't know right now. Either way, it sounds like witness tampering. Somehow, the defense files endless motions saying Denise needed out of jail to go to her grandma's funeral in Florida. The judge lowered her bond to $200,000 and she was out immediately. Now she only had to put up a portion, but her lawyer had gone in and convinced the judge that she couldn't handle the $500,000, and the next thing you know, she's out of jail. She was given permission to leave Hawaii to go to her grandma's funeral in Florida and visit family in New Hampshire. Jet setting around the world, it kind of makes me sick. In the meantime, the same thing is happening with the court case. Remember, Harper and Abby were born 8 days apart and died exactly 1 month apart. Anna and James are also dealing with endless delays for their trial. COVID, of course. Then the defense keeps applying for more and more delays. Denise has not gone to trial, although they have a solid court date for January. Some things came out for both families during the investigations. First, the Bryers, they found out that DCF, that agency that was licensing her, had received complaints. 2 different families moved their kids from Stacy's daycare to a different one and called DCF to lodge complaints that she had medicated their children to get them to sleep. The Bryers only found out about these complaints after she was arrested. They are now suing DCF for not filing the complaints, investigating all of them, and informing the families. Please be aware of this. It's an open case. I know families will get skittish and she may lose children, but it could have protected children as well. And that should be the end goal, not less money in her pocket, but to protect the children. So I'll be watching this to see what happens. The Labish found out that several neighbors had lodged complaints to the Army and the child care centers that does the certification for children on the base. Apparently, these complaints had gone on for over a year and were well documented. The neighbor, Katie, reported seeing more than 17 children being there uncared for at one point, seeing a child with a long-handled lighter about to light a trampoline on fire, and several other unsafe conditions. She made contact more than a dozen times through the calls and emails. She forwarded the videos and photos she took as well. Also, they learned that the Army was aware of it because they had ordered Denise and her husband, Navy officer Aaron Villa, to shut it down. Shut the daycare down. They would just start it up again. They had ordered it shut down just 4 days before Abby died, but no one was enforcing it. This was not something new to the couple either, because it happened in his previous command. The Lavish are suing the Army and the housing development that they lived in, that was base housing. I'll be watching to see how this one turns out as well. So whether it's a licensed daycare or one that turns out shouldn't have been, if the person is a reckless human being who drugs your child, it really doesn't matter. These are just two cases. I found so many more. I was very happy when I found a woman that got 50 years recently in Texas for exactly this. However, a woman in Connecticut got 30 months, so that's like 2.5 years. The maximum in Hawaii is 10 years. The sentencing is all over the place, and it doesn't seem fair for the loss of a baby's life, a loss that could have been prevented. Harper's room was decorated in elephants and roses. Anna called Abby her rainbow baby, and she remembers her with sunflowers. These were happy, bright, loving babies that are incredibly missed. These families are both waiting for answers, waiting for justice, waiting for peace. Let's leave as many colored hearts for both Harper and Abby and their surviving families. I hope by spreading awareness we can slow this madness down. It's just unimaginable to think that you drop your baby off in the morning and then you get a text in the afternoon or evening. And I just hope that you tell somebody about this case so they are aware, because this isn't only babysitters. There is mothers out there too. Thanks to all my channel members and Patreons who continue to support me. Their names are on the screen. If you would like early access to new videos and decide the cases I cover next, you can do so by clicking the join button. Well, if you made it to the end, you guys are rock stars, and I love you to death. There are more true crime videos in my Crimey Cases playlist if you'd like to check them out. Stay safe, my loves, and remember, if you see something, say something. Bye.